this high-rise condo just to live with me? That's quite the choice for you. Well, I guess I can't help it. I'll live with you then. That's great. Stop sulking and let's start getting along together. All three of us from today. What on earth are these two talking about? The people in front of me are my ex-husband and former mother-in-law. Yes, we've been divorced for a while now. My former mother-in-law, who declared she did it all for me, has an egocentric personality and never cared how bad I felt, always dumping the cooking and cleaning on me. And my ex-husband, probably due to being raised by such a mother, is just as self-centered. That's why I chose to divorce. I moved without telling either of them my new address. And yet here they are, somehow at my new place. It shall soon up. I find out a surprising fact. My name is Madison. I'm a 34-year-old career woman. I've been working at the same company since I graduated and have been assigned to the sales department, where I've been excelling and am now leading several projects. I got so immersed in the fun of work that years went by without even thinking about marriage or boyfriends. Finding joy in getting good results and rising through the ranks, and not being interested in shopping sprees or luxury. I managed to save up my salary and bonuses steadily. All before I knew it. I was over 30, but neither my parents nor had anything to say about it, as I was thoroughly enjoying my life. Then, a certain encounter greatly changed my life. There was a college reunion, which I attended. It's there, I ran into Steve, who was in the same seminar as me back in the day. We hadn't talked much during our college years, but sitting next to each other at the reunion, we discovered we were working for companies that do business with each other. Steve was working in legal affairs for a top-tier company. From talking about work, we moved on to how we trained our juniors and then our personal lives, finding a lot in common. Steve and I started to meet alone from that day on and eventually began dating. During our relationship, Steve was very kind and a great listener, which comforted me and gave me extra motivation to work harder. Less than 6 months into the relationship, we decided to get married. My colleagues, friends, and even my parents were surprised to hear about a workaholic like me getting married, but they all celebrated us heartily at a small chapel wedding. I never imagined myself in a wedding dress, even months before, but the peak of this marital happiness was on the wedding day itself. It's with little experience in love. I had naive dreams about married life, but the reality was brutal. It's on a certain day off. I fell ill, was bedridden. Steve did show concern, saying, "I'd just rest. I'm hungry though. I'll be in the living room playing games." He left the bedroom after saying that. I felt something was off, but with my dizziness and headache, I just lay there. As I was dozing off, my phone rang. "Mama, what's up?" No, I'm okay." It was a call from my mother-in-law. "Madison isn't feeling well." I could hear Steve's voice all the way in the bedroom. "Oh, is that so? Don't worry. I'll tell her to get up right away." "Yes, I'll wait." It seemed my mother-in-law was coming to visit. Despite talking about my health, she was planning to visit, and Steve was okay with it. He even said he would wake me up. I could get up if I pushed myself, but I wanted to rest and recover on this day off. Despite my wife Madison feeling unwell, I could only feel sadness at Steve's behavior for accepting a visit. "Madison, get up quick. Mom's gonna come over soon." She said it'll be just for a little while, and it'd be pitiful to send her away. "Show your face to Mom too. You're free anyway, right? Didn't I say I'm not feeling well and want to stay in bed? It'll be all right. It's just for a bit. What's all right about this situation? Even so, if my mother-in-law is coming over, it's not like I, as her daughter-in-law, can stay in bed. I had been bedridden since the morning, so no cleaning had been done. Last night's dinner mess, the cluttered living room, and even the laundry had been left untouched. Steve never lifts a finger to help with the housework. Somehow, I managed to get up and did the cleaning and tidying in the 1 hour before my mother-in-law arrived. All the while, Steve just continued playing his games, unfazed. It's quicker to do it myself than to be hindered by his half-hearted help. But I wish he had at least shown the gesture of offering to help. By the time I had done the bare minimum cleaning and gotten myself ready, the mother-in-law arrived. Steve greeted her cheerfully. "Mom wants tea. It's almost lunchtime, so could you take care of lunch for me and Mom? You're gonna eat, right?" "Boom. Tate?" "Yes, I'll have some. I brought your favorite strawberry cake for dessert, so let's eat it together." And just like that, no consideration was given for how I was feeling. The conversation between my husband and mother-in-law unfolded as if I wasn't there, and I sat beside them enduring a headache and dizziness. In the end, the mother-in-law didn't leave even by evening, so she stayed for dinner too. I started preparing without showing any irritation. Finally, after she left for an appointment with her friends in the evening, I collapsed into bed without exchanging a word with Steve or cleaning up. Originally, Steve always put his mother first and often prioritized her wishes. Since his father had already passed away, he would say, "I'm worried about Mom. She must be lonely," and frequently visit her place. He also never missed an opportunity to give her gifts with each season. At first, I thought it was sweet how he cared for his mother, but I was mistaken. His mother was always his top priority. Her word was law, and the number of nights he spent at her place just kept increasing. It was always about Mom, for Mom with Mom. Whatever it was all about Mom. Yes, Steve was what you'd call a mama's boy. Comparing me with his mother became the norm. Moreover, every time they went out, it was always to his mother's house. Just 6 months into our marriage, my husband was already neglecting me, spending all his free time with his mother. His mother seemed to adore her son excessively, and though I had dreamed of a happy married life, I soon found myself increasingly alone as her presence loomed larger. There was a reason why the mother-in-law couldn't let go of her son. Listen, money. She had a significant spending problem. It wasn't just coffee or outings with friends. She spent money on travels and brand-name shopping sprees. Because of this, she frequently hit up Steve for money. "This month, I only need $2,000. She'd say without a hint of shame, and Steve would always hand it over without hesitation. Then, her request for money started affecting me too. "Madison, I need you to prepare $4,000 by tomorrow." "Why? What do you need $4,000 for?" "Because I'm going on a trip next month." I was shocked by a demand I'd never even gotten from my own parents. Raised with strict rules about lending and borrowing money, I was utterly taken aback by her assumption that not paying back was the norm. That's impossible. I refuse. I didn't give her a single penny. "It's not like I'm asking you for a gift." "Don't be so stingy." "Clean. Steve will give it to me." Every time she asked, Steve would just give in. That's why she doted on him so much. Mom's in trouble, it's only natural to help her out a bit. That was Steve's response whenever I brought it up. Steve earns a pretty penny, I'd say. We're both working, so each month we pitch in a set amount and manage our own money beyond that. I have no clue how much Steve saves or what he spends it on, but the couple $100s his mom was asking for has ballooned into a couple thousand. There might be financial dealings happening that I don't know about. At this rate, it could start affecting our household finances. "Hey Steve, don't you think we should increase our savings each month considering the future for the kids we might have, and eventually, I'd like us to buy our own house. If I had that kind of money, I'd give it to my mom. Madison, you should chip in and help my mom out each month too." That was his reply. I bet he isn't saving a dime. When I show up at my in-laws to my mother-in-law, I'm just a maid who works for free. The house my father-in-law left behind is quite impressive and spacious. I'm tasked with everything from cooking, cleaning, to gardening and window washing. Still, being married, I complied without complaining. Menacing. I'm really sorry to ask this of you every time. I just can't clean anymore since my legs have gotten weak. The woman who gallivants daily, what is she even saying? I smiled politely at my mother-in-law while muttering this in my heart. She just enjoys bossing me around. My oblivious husband neither helps me nor does he see the need to, believing instead that his mother is toughening me up to be a good wife, thinking she's incredible for it. Then Steve said something unbelievable. It seems like Madison's mom didn't have much time to take care of her. "Show her how to clean and cook, will you? Teach her the ropes." Sure, my parents ran a rice mill back home and were busy every day. But even so, my mom always made time for me. And my dad too. They could have had me help out, being an only child and all, but they let me play and pursue my interests. Children aren't tools for labor. Do what you love, they'd always say. So different from my mother-in-law. Finally, I stood up to Steve, for the sake of my parents, who cried tears of joy at our wedding, and for my own sake. "What are you talking about? My mom took great care of me. Don't you think there's something wrong with what your mom is saying? Can someone who's too frail to clean go out and travel every day? She's just shoving her housework onto me. I refuse to do your family's chores anymore. I don't want to come here again." However, the response I got from Steve was filled with anger. How can you say such awful things about my mom? She's just trying to make you into a proper wife. You're demonizing her without a shred of gratitude. If you're gonna talk like that, we might as well get a divorce. What's with that? Steve yelled into my shock, pulled out a divorce paper from his bag. He filled it out and threw it at me. How about that? I'm serious. If you apologize to me and my mom, to me and my mom, maybe I'll forgive you. If you don't want to get divorced, apologize right now. That's right. You'd be the one in trouble if Steve left you. Apologize now? He's rooted in old-fashioned values. Standing up to one's husband is unthinkable. He assumes that threatening divorce will make a wife beg with tears and apologize. But I was certain this marriage was no longer bringing me happiness, nor was it going to get any better. Seeing me silent, I've read on this while I'm away on my business trip. The next day, as Steve left for his trip, he left the divorce paper on the table. I didn't waste any time. I signed my name and ran to the courthouse to file it right away. Then I called my job and took some urgent personal days to start reverting to my maiden name and sorting out my affairs. I wanted to wrap up as much as possible while Steve was away. On the day the divorce was finalized, Steve came home. I've already filed for divorce, I said. When I handed him the envelope from the city hall, his face turned bright red with anger and he yelled, "Do you really want to put us through all this trouble? Divorce isn't something you just do on a whim. Submitting a divorce paper just because you didn't get your way is beyond a joke. It's too much." It seemed like he thought I had filed for divorce on a mere whim. I decided to play along with his words. "Well, it's because you always prioritize your mom over me. I'm never a part of the conversation, even when we're all together. I'm always alone, feeling lonely. Why do you exclude me?" Although I was only pretending to sulk, it seemed to have an effect on him. He loves it when women appear to be needy towards him. Despite the audacity of my act, I must have seemed like a seasoned actress to him. My husband, completely led on by my performance, cheerfully agreed to a financial settlement that was to my advantage. He thinks that after I've calmed down, we can just get remarried and return to our old life. But my feelings for him are gone. I divorced him to take care of myself. There's no going back to life with him. Regarding the usually troublesome matter of the financial settlement in a divorce, my husband didn't argue and let it end in my favor, and once everything was settled, I left the house. While I was looking for a new place, I fell in love with a high-rise condo near my workplace and decided to buy it after much deliberation. It's a new start in life. I wanted a bit of luxury in my home so I could enjoy my time alone, which is exactly what I'm doing now. After a day at work, I come home to my own space. With no one to take care of or accommodate, I've taken up my old hobby of knitting. Then one day, my ex-husband and former mother-in-law showed up at my condo. Of course, I hadn't given them my address. I couldn't find the right words over the intercom and remained silent as my mother-in-law caused a scene at the entrance, calling out my name. But to avoid bothering my neighbors, I reluctantly let them in through the front door. "How did you know where I live?" "Stelio. Oh, we hired a private investigator. Forgot to ask you where you moved. We were worried about how you were doing, and Mom had it looked into," he said as if it was the most natural thing in the world. After a divorce, there's no way I would tell them where I moved. Yet here they were, using a private investigator to intrude upon me. I felt a chill down my spine. I was desperately thinking about how to get rid of this parent and child. The mother, acting like a young girl despite her age, was shamelessly peering into my house, craning her neck and squatting to get a better look. Just as I was about to scold her, she blurted out something unexpected. "It's not as shabby as I thought. Did you buy this high-rise apartment to live with me? You chose a nicer place than I expected. Well, I guess I'll have to move in with you. Great. No more sulking. From today on, we'll all live together happily." My ex-husband chimed in with a grin. What is she talking about? We'll move in here? I was dumbstruck. The idea that they were proposing to live with me hadn't crossed my mind, and I couldn't understand why they would say such a thing. I was left pondering how to respond. The smile on my mother-in-law's face was unnerving. Next to her, my ex-husband was smiling ear to ear. That's the best choice indeed. He found himself agreeing with my mother-in-law's opinion. "Madison, it must be lonely to live here all by yourself forever, right? That's why I came with Mom today. I'll let bygones be bygones. I'll forgive you. You must have reflected on it, and from today on, we'll live here. The three of us." My ex-husband proceeded with the conversation as if it was a done deal. The two of them looked at me as if it was a matter of course, but it was clear from their expressions that they were dismissing my wishes. My words didn't reach them at all. I absolutely refuse. Please leave immediately. I don't mind if you never forgive me. You are now strangers to me. Our ties have been severed. Please do not come back again. I responded firmly. My ex-husband was taken aback, likely expecting me to readily agree. Wait. Why? You're serious? You bought this place wanting to live with Mom, didn't you? Don't say such things, please. And here I thought I was doing this for your sake. They must have been expecting a completely different reaction. They couldn't hide their surprise at my rejection. Whatever misunderstandings you have. I don't know, but I bought this condo for myself. Please stop with your arbitrary interpretations. I'm saying I'll forgive you. It seemed in my ex-husband's mind I was still being stubborn just to cause them trouble. He began to show an arrogant attitude, as if he was doing me a favor by forgiving me. If things stay like this, you'll end up living alone here for the rest of your life, with neither me nor Mom around. You know, you're gonna be all by yourself forever. Yes, that's what I want. You're not welcome in my home. Please leave. We are no longer family. The relationship is over. Don't ever come back. I stated clearly, but it seemed not to penetrate my ex-husband's understanding. He must have thought I was too stubborn to back down. His actions were self-serving, twisting the situation to his liking, without attempting to understand my words. He scoffed at my words, and when I tried to close the door, he pushed past me to enter the house. Being pushed by my ex-husband, I was helpless and fell into the hallway. I let out an unexpected loud scream. After a while, a neighbor opened their door. Realizing this, my ex-husband and his mother tried to hurry inside the house. This with a scavirant, with a puzzled look. I pleaded to the neighbor, please call the police. Tai, what are you saying? For me, this was trespassing. I called 911 myself. Come quickly, please. Because the call came from the same location. The police car arrived promptly. The neighbor, to protect me from my ex-husband, kindly let me into the entrance and locked the door. Are you okay? They asked me gently. My ex-husband banged on the door violently, shouting, No, it's not like that. I'm the husband. I just came to visit my wife. My mother-in-law was also raging in the hallway. Hey, don't touch Mom. Madison, say something? It's because you wouldn't even give us your address that we had to go digging around for it. Oh, you. Not only did you tarnish my son's reputation, but you had to treat me this terribly too. Surely, what a terrible daughter-in-law you are. Pesirhans? To apologize right now? The incredible volume of their voices echoed down the hallway. Given that it was a weekend morning, it's likely that many residents were home. One by one, doors began to open, and the commotion escalated to the point where onlookers started to emerge. Fortunately for me, though I was new to this apartment complex, I always made sure to attend the meetings, and was known for being considerate despite my youth, so I had already established a relationship of trust with the other residents. Despite the disturbance caused by my ex-husband's sudden appearance, I wasn't shunned. Instead, everyone was kind, asking if I was all right and if I needed help, just give them a shout. Based on testimonies from neighbors and other local residents, my ex and his mom were taken away by the police for trespassing. The neighbor who I had asked to call the police, despite being inconvenienced, said, I work in the legal field, so I know a lawyer who's an expert on stalking. I'll introduce you, and he did just that. But come to think of it, my ex-husband used to work in legal affairs too, but he seems completely oblivious to the laws he's breaking. I bet he'll never realize it. A few weeks after the incident, an old friend from college reached out to me. She said she saw my ex-husband walking happily with a young child. It was a message asking when he had the kid. Since I hadn't informed her of my divorce, she assumed the child was mine. It hasn't been that long since the debacle. Could it be that my husband, who was supposed to be reconciling with me, has found a new lover already? That's his prerogative, and it has nothing to do with me. If he is a new lover, perhaps his obsession with me will fade. But a young child. Would my mother-in-law ever approve of a romance with a woman who already has children? I asked my attorney to conduct additional investigations to uncover his background. A reputable detective agency, arranged through the law firm, took on the task of investigating my ex. And then, I was informed of the shocking result. My ex had been cheating on me long before our divorce, though my feelings for him had long since vanished. I never imagined that he had been betraying me from the start. I thought all the weekends he spent with his mother, staying at his parents' house, leaving our home empty, were for family obligations. I was told so, and seeing how his mother acted, I had no reason to doubt it. But in reality, he was probably going to see his mistress. I could feel my heart in turmoil. To my ex-husband, all women are inferior to him, except for his mother, who reigns supreme in his life. He thinks it's okay to ridicule or scorn any other woman, including me. While having a wife, the act of cheating, as well as convincing himself it's only right to get back together with his divorced wife, stems from him painting things in a different light. Him painting things in a light that suits him. Even as he's pressuring me for reconciliation, he's still seeing his mistress. In his mind, this situation makes perfect sense. As I pore over the investigative report, it indicates that despite having no intention of marrying, he's been leading his mistress on with talks of a future. He's been keeping her hopeful to maintain their affair. And then there's the young child he was seen walking with, the legitimate child of my ex-husband born by his mistress. Yes, he had two families. The child was born around the time he and I were married. Unaware of anything, the report made me feel more nauseous than sad or angry. Following my attorney's advice, I immediately switched to filing for damages due to the affair. If it's within 3 years of discovering the infidelity, one can file a suit. There's no time to wallow in sadness or anger. My feelings for him are long gone. I can't afford to waste any more time on such a person. I mechanically proceed with the preparation for the appeal. Simultaneously, I'm suing the mistress for damages due to her infidelity. Upon learning of my ex-husband's mindset, who hasn't given up on reconciling with me while still implying marriage to his mistress, Emily is furious. I'll sue for marriage fraud. He'll never see the child again. But just hinting at marriage is unlikely enough for a lawsuit. I thought I'd probably end up just crying myself to sleep, but to my surprise, it turned out he had taken a significant amount of money from Emily, claiming it was for their wedding fund. And, of course, the money ended up with my mother-in-law. Her spending habits are out of control, her demands ever escalating. Steve was trying to appease his mother, who was upset with the complications between us by granting her the dream of an overseas trip on a luxury cruise ship. He reserved the best room and had also booked the most luxurious hotel. The money he had received from Emily was used to cover those expenses. Once she learned this, Emily managed to bring about a legal case. I'm claiming damages for the affair child support payments, and now he's being charged with fraud. Dummy ex, who was always begging his mother for money, had no savings. I heard he incurred a substantial debt. Their grand family home was seized, and yet his debts only grew. He paid me my damages in one lump sum, and now we're entirely estranged. However, the situation between Emily and my ex is slightly different because they have a young child together. He had agreed to pay child support every month, but those payments soon fell behind. Enraged, Emily stormed into his workplace, revealing everything despite dealing with legal issues. He was causing trouble with women at work and amidst a fraud trial. He had kept this hidden from his company. When Emily burst in, everyone found out, and he was quickly shunted aside to a less important position. And unable to stand the whispers, he resigned on his own. This with debt repayment and child support looming, he desperately looked for a new job, but found that his reputation in the industry, now tainted with fraud charges, made it impossible even to get an interview. Realizing he can't be picky, he's now juggling 3 demanding physical labor jobs, working himself to the bone with barely any sleep. As for his mother, seeing her son sued and jobless with a mountain of debt, she vanished to avoid getting involved. His mother abandoned him and disappeared. My ex-husband is on the brink of despair. Of course, his mother's story isn't over. Unable to curb her spending, she too has racked up considerable debt. Without a home, she's found herself borrowing easily but facing harsh repayment conditions. Soon falling behind, she's now working tirelessly, constantly under the watchful eye of some unsavory characters. Meanwhile, I'm diving into my job as a sales manager, taking on new projects. I'm achieving groundbreaking results, and now with a life of my own. I can even make time to study. My growing expertise has won me the trust of clients and led to a surge in company sales. I've been promoted to the first female executive at the company, and there's even talk of me rising to higher positions. I'm not letting it get to my head, though. I'm working hard and looking to keep contributing to the company. Now single, I've been getting a lot of blind date invitations from girlfriends, but I'm turning them all down to focus on my hobbies and studies. Since it's my own life, I want to devote it to what I love and live with my head held high. Also, I do hope that someday I'll meet someone with whom mutual respect is possible. But that thought I'll keep tucked away in my heart for now.